Alright guys, let's check out how things are with gas and heating in the United Kingdom. As you may have known, because I have told you that British control gas in Azerbaijan, which is former USSR Republic, and looks like it doesn't reflect on the livelihood of British citizens, because from what it seems they are going to go bankrupt and freeze to death this coming autumn, winter, early spring season. Here are the comments to an article in Daily Mail about the gas price. IIJCC.org claimed to have 51 trillion euro in investments, and all is locked into net zero. UKSIF likewise has 10 trillion pounds in net zero. Now open these sites and see why Boris Johnson wanted this swindle upon us. On a far more serious note, has anyone taken into account the civil unrest that's coming our way, as 10 million people won't be able to pay their fuel bills? It's alright saying we have given this and that and are doing the other. Wake up. Nationalize the grid. No point the Tories sell off all public services as soon as they get the chance. The next time they get in, they'll just sell it off again. The stupid Brits will continue to take it up the bum from the greedy energy companies and the government. But these vast profits are going straight to shareholders without any investment in infrastructure and skyrocketing bills for us plebs, which is exactly what Tory voters want. The chairman of the National Grid, John Pettigrew, landed a 6.5 million payday for the year to the end of March 2022. I can't be bothered typing what other people in the gas and electric industry are paying themselves, but have a look. Barrow: yes, of course, the oil and gas giants will continue to make profits, but it's a very cynical industry and the financial risks in oil and gas exploration are very high, and it's very easy to turn that profit into a massive loss, or, as BP found out, massive losses for several years if there is a major accident that you'll get blamed for, even though a contractor was at fault, or if it was fake staged event or intentional. Except the price of oil, Brent crude, was 123.07, always with those numbers, 337 with 0, on June 9th, 69, and today is 106.62. Have fuel prices declined to reflect this, or will they? We all know the answer. All is priced in dollars and we pay for it in pounds. If you see what has happened to the pound, to the dollar, you should appreciate why prices are going up. Yeah, the dollar used to be lower in value than euro all these years, and now, first time in many years, dollar is the same price almost as euro. And you all voted for a weak pound. Remember, the euro is nearly at a parity with the dollar. What has the price of crude oil got to do with the price of gas? Come on, that sergeant. We know you lot aren't too bright, but oil is priced in dollars, fuel in sterling. Check what Boris has been doing to the value of the pound, and you might understand why it isn't going down in price. Thoughtful Manchester 3 hours. Well, Ron, you can always buy oil and gas in Russia and pay in rubles, but hey, we would rather pay 2,000 per month for our electricity bill and keep spending billions of cash in Ukraine than making our lives better. After all, the politicians don't pay for gas and electricity or petrol. In fact, they wouldn't even know how much 1 liter of petrol cost of 1 kilometer hour energy or kilowatt energy, hour energy per hour energy. They are futures prices. So the price you will pay for that oil in September is 105.11 right now. So that wheat that they seized in Ukraine, that was all the fuss about, they claim that there was very little of it. And there was also rumor about all these labs in Ukraine, and that one of the labs planned to infect the crops in Russia with some shit or something like that, to reduce the population. Anyways, that crop that was stolen or seized in Ukraine, that they didn't let out of the ports, so it had been sold at the market, at the futures market, that, rigged another military CIA operations where all the bankers are, special forces, former special forces guys. Anyways, that wheat had been sold long before it was grown. You understand? So before they even grow anything, they already sell it to some country. So allegedly it had been sold to Turkey, but then suddenly it was seized, and some say that the port was mined or something like that. I don't remember what happened there. So anyways, that wheat then was said to be going to Afghanistan in order for them to stabilize the situation there. And after that Afghanistan rerouting happened, or was about to. There was a massive earthquake in Afghanistan where 200 people died. It was around 1st of July, like I said. And there was another earthquake, I think in Iran, or I forgot what it was, avalanche, I forgot. Now there also happens in Kyrgyzstan or something like that. In any case, it looks like that this earthquake happened to punish Afghanistan, or when US left that country, they left something underground which they later remotely control, blew up, or somebody else, like opposing forces opposing to NATO, blew up these underground channels in Afghanistan that were shipping, trafficking poppy or people, whatever they were doing, this underground. Like in Mariupol in Ukraine, they, like in Vatican in Rome, in Italy, that there are many tunnels underground over there. So it looks like it was blown up. In any case, Let's continue. Why is it the government cannot, will not help the genuine British, but are throwing billions around the world, and they give illegals that have never paid a penny into the system 5-star treatment? Exactly. What even is this country anymore? What even is this country anymore? Why do I even bother to pay tax? Couldn't agree more. Genuine British, we all know your game. How does someone with just a state pension pay for the heating? Tell me that, Parliament. People will freeze to death, especially the elderly and people with dementia. These energy bosses must have skins made of rhinoceros. You have 50 years to save towards a private pension. Your heating requires the burning of fossil fuels, so you will have to freeze. Thus saith the Green Agenda. You are supposed to sell up your house for immigrants and beetle off to a very expensive care home where you can die tidily from flu or COVID next winter. You are not required in the UK. They don't care, they don't answer to you or I, they answer to elected billionaires pulling their strings. They've stated they want the population reduced to 500 million, so a lot have to go. We are all expendable. Pensioners and boomers are the wealthiest cohort in the UK. Those who truly only get state pension also get pension credit and other benefits to top up their income. The Tories have always shaped their policies to benefit 65 plus the most. See the fact they are bringing the triple lock back, benefiting all wealthy pensioners too, while nurses and other public sector workers get real terms wage cut. I'm sick to death of the government always prioritizes the old rather than younger people. We all know why, of course. Selfish boomers and pensioners who enjoy decent wages, reasonable house prices, etc., are more likely to vote Tory as they care about themselves rather than younger people. And they bought us the ridiculous Brexit we are dealing with. Pound discretion thanks to Brexit. OFGEM allowed utility companies to sell energy below market price, knowing full well they were not making a profit. So why did they allow this to continue when so many energy companies went bust, as we are paying the cost of bailing their incompetence out? And no, we cannot afford over 3k a year to keep warm. 3k a year, what a joke. I'm sure they meant 3k per month for this winter. You wait, the house of cards is about to collapse. OFGEM are bent, compromised and toothless. Ours is already well over 3k a year. I dread to think how much ours will be. So where do they think people are going to get all this extra money? We have already decided the heating will only go on for 1-2 hours a day in winter. That's to keep the house free from damp. We'll be wearing fleeces. How sad is that this day and age? How are pensioners going to cope? People will be dying because of this. Spot on. Don't vote Tory for a start. This is actually ridiculous. I'm hardly using any electricity or gas at the moment, but for some reason it's increasing. We are a family of 4. Both my wife and myself work. We are probably looking at 300 or 400 pounds a month for gas and electricity. We can afford it, but we'll spend a lot less in the local economy to compensate. How do you heat a house if you live on your own on a pension? With great difficulty. 750 PM pension, fuel 250 PM, plus council tax, food, etc. Green for thousands who have worked all their lives when pension schemes weren't around for job log. You don't. We can't afford it, so what they are going to do when people just don't use their product, or you go out of business through greed? While in France, the owned EDF company have capped energy rises to 4%, just a tad different from the 54% rise the mugs in the UK have faced so far in the last 12 months. And the irony is EDF make huge profit from their British operations. Ever get the feeling you are being shafted? Don't tell this to the Brexiteers. You are going to shatter the already broken Brexit dream. France heavily invested in nuclear. This is why they are protected. Actually, no. They expropriated British energy companies, and that's how they operate. Those French, they are just like Ukrainians. Pay attention. They are not protected because they are nuclear. Actually, their nuclear powers have been compromised, sabotaged through Russian operations, I think, or something like that. This is disgusting. Someone needs to get control of these utility companies. If France can cap the energy bills at 5%, why are ours so high? Unbelievable. I despair, because our government is a total and utter failure. The French energy companies are nationalized. Our government doesn't care about us, because we are paying for their 5% cap. If you're with EDF, you are paying France for your energy bills. No wonder they get it cheaper. Good thing we blew up many of our oil and coal-fired power stations, sold off our own oil, and closed down viable mines with some of the best quality hot-burning coal in the world. Now we are poor and struggling, but hey, we met our green targets. The sanctions being put in place by our government are hurting us far more than Russia, and the government knows it, and they don't care. What a cancer the government are. They always double down on stupidity. History has shown us that many times. We are being taken for a ride. The rich are getting extremely rich and enjoying the chaos they've caused. The poor, well, they don't matter. There is no energy shortage, for fuck's sake. This is all about control. Do you not find it astonishing just how everything seems to be happening all at once? COVID, Ukraine, supply chain disruption, energy crisis, runaway inflation, the Ukraine, all within a 4-year period. You are being beaten down mentally. When they think you are totally compliant, they'll usher in a totally new way of life for you. Your resistance will be negligible. The VEF, the BIS, and the IMF are who you should fear, not Putin. Seeing as France has now fully nationalized EDF so that they can rip us off to lower the cost to their French customers, then maybe it's time we did a similar thing here in the UK. We could have easily taken over all those failed energy suppliers last year for next to nothing, and we could then start fracking our own gas and opening up the new coal mine in Cumbria, along with a few others, so we no longer have to import expensive coal and gas from overseas. France was looking after its own national interests. It's what sensible governments do. Now have a look at the clown show in this country. Planned, all planned by the elites. If I decide to sit in the cold and I don't have any electric appliance on, why do I have to pay that ridiculous standing charge? So, okay guys, check out the British man called Aaron Dover. He had this show called No Floors and Other Potatoes, and it was about them collecting electric charge from the air with the masts that are installed on tall towers, flagstones, and monuments secretly, just like you touch the door handle. If it's silver or gold paint on it, then you will be struck by electricity. So, anyways, his point was Arendovers, who was suicided by MI6, in my opinion, and I don't share his anti-Semite views, but anyways, his point was that they had free energy, what they claim about this Tesla character, Tesla with Elon Musk character. They always had this free electricity, free energy in place ever since the Blackpool Tower in London was erected, probably even earlier. When we think about all these obelisks, the way they are built, like if they had some religious significance, sun worship, the obelisks, ancient obelisks, or that they were some kind of a clock, sun clock, but they were also gilded at the top. So I think that in way back then times, they used to be like, the way I see it, the world was divided into two parts, and one side had this northern star, the one that is now in the North Pole, so the one that produces all these aurora borealis, northern lights. So I think that back in the day there was either no sun, or they would rather use this northern star, this brightest star, as a source of energy in old days. So this is how I explain it, and this is also how some people became white-skinned, some people became melanated, because they had to develop melanin in their skin because of the changes of the celestial lights. Anyways, this is my wild guess. Now Sakhalin Energy is being nationalized. All the rights of Sakhalin Energy in Russia will pass on to new, created by governments, limited liability society. All the property of Sakhalin Energy will go into property of the Russian Federation and will pass on to the company in free use. Right now the shares of Sakhalin Energy belong to Gazprom company, 50% plus one share. British Shell company, 27.5% minus one share, and Japanese conglomerates.